Gang Stalking 101, some of them will try to set you up. So, in my particular instance, and this is just one example, um, and I'm gonna also link a news story how an ex-girlfriend of this one guy tried to set him up, but luckily, thankfully, he was in Hawaii and he had receipts. But what I don't understand is why the false accuser has not been brought up on charges her own self, because you're wasting resources, you're tying up the system for things that have actually happened. And I'll say allegedly because I don't know all the ins and out of this case. I don't even know these people. They're in Florida. The news happened in Florida, so I'll just say allegedly. But in my particular instance, and I'll say allegedly for that too, because a lot of this is intuitive, and of course, sometimes you can't prove the things of the spirit. But what happened in my case was there's a criminal. He lives a street over and down the street, so we're in close proximity. And I'll say reputed criminal. He's reputed to be a criminal, and there's rumors that he's a criminal, but he's never been arrested. And so he does odd jobs for people in the neighborhood, and for whatever reason, the people around me had hired him to do things for their house, and another neighbor hired him to cut down hedges that were close to my house. So what happened was I kept hearing honks. I'm like, that's so weird. I get honks all the time anyways, because if you go back to one of my previous videos, it talks about they're using honks to signal each other. This honk was kind of more random and out of the ordinary. And then I heard his cell phone ring. And so the impression that I got was they were trying to tell him to get a photo, get close to me so that they can capture a photo with the two of us together to either frame me, set me up. That was the impression that I got from Spirit. And so I when I got that impression, he was like, "Oh, how far should I cut these hedges down?" I'm like, "I don't know." Number one, I didn't ask you to cut the hedges down, but I know one of the neighbors who I know what her likes and dislikes are. So I said, well, why don't you just trim it to this amount? But I wasn't near him, I was pointing. And so I don't think that they could use that photo unless they AI enhance it, if they were to take a photo. And then one time, this was in the same time frame, like within the same week, few days apart, I was leaving, and this guy, this handyman slash quote unquote criminal guy, he started making a whole bunch of noise. I'm like, and I said out loud, I don't know, it just came out, and that's the lookout. He's the, in other words, he's the lookout. And so, it's just interesting that they do try to set people up, and this is not isolated to me because I told you they're taking photos. Why do you need all these photos of me? But I already have the remedy. God said I could ask for what I want. I could have asked for money, but I asked for the spirit of justice. And so those people forever from this point, from the time that they've had my photos on their phone, they are now being targeted by divine justice. So we'll see what happens with that. But I'm not an isolated case. I've heard others, on YouTube, I've seen other people being set up for different things, and I'm going to link a news story. And I don't know what this whole setup situation is, but it's fascinating. I love psychology. I would have been a psychology major, but other things, I have so many interests. So I did not major in psychology, but I just find the human psyche fascinating. Group psychology, sociology, group psychology, I find that fascinating. Things like mob mentality. I don't know. I just always have found stuff like this fascinating. Maybe that's why I aren't incarnated on the earth to learn more about humans. But then this is all an illusion according to A Course in Miracles, and this is Maya according to Hindu. I don't know if it's mythology or religion, but I might as well make the best of it now that I'm here. And yeah, so that's it for this video. Stay tuned for an in-depth Ho'oponopono video about setting people up, and we'll see what happens once we do some Ho'oponopono over it. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.